Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Yogmaster3, and it's finally time for a new video. I know I have not made my top 5 the month for the month of April yet, but I will upload that as soon as possible. But in this particular video, I'm going to talk about the movies by Don Bluth. So this is going to be like a ranking video of his films. So because now I've seen all of his films, so I'm gonna go through them, and I'm gonna start with the one which I think is the weakest one, and then I'm gonna work my way up to the best ones. So, yeah, let's begin right away. The first one, the weakest film at number 11. This is his weakest film. I did not care too much for this film at all, and that's Bartok the Magnificent. This one is basically like a spin-off film of the Anastasia film that he made in the late 90s. Um, I don't really understand the reasoning as to why they decided to give this character his own film. He's sort of like okay in the Anastasia film because he has such a smaller, like he has a smaller type of role in the film, and this one is like I don't care about this character at all. I don't think I find him quite obnoxious and stuff. I mean, I don't really blame the voice actor or anything because I think he has a pretty like distinguished voice or like a special type of voice. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the storyline is just a big mumbled mess, and there's some like musical numbers shoved in there just for the sake of having them right there. And I don't think any of the characters are memorable at all. And there's like a twist towards the end that I didn't care for at all either. So but this just feels like it's just filled with like jokes that are just failing constantly. So it just feels like whenever they're on screen, someone needs to crack a joke, and when they do that, it just feels very forced. Yeah, I this is probably the only Don Bluth film that I can say that I don't care for at all. So yeah, Bartok the Magnificent at number 11. Then at number 10 we have Thumbelina. And I would say this is the same type of issue with this one that I have with Bartok. I mean, I don't say this is a terrible film, but I think the storyline is just way all over the place. Really, it doesn't really feel like it has any bigger structure to it. And once again, like I said, with Bartok, it's the same issue I have with this one. It's just so many songs shoved in there just for the sake of having songs in there. And I feel like the prince is very forgettable as a character, and there's not really any big like mean like main villain in the film. It just feels like there's like just a bunch of minor villains like shoved in the film. Yeah, I don't really care too much for this one either. I mean, I do think it's way better than Bartok, but that isn't saying very much. But Thumbelina, if I remember correctly, I think I liked that movie more than when I was a kid. So yeah. Then at number 9 is a film which I think most people probably have at their like in the lost spot on the or like the weakest one. Many people say this is his weakest film in general, but A Troll in Central Park. I thought it was quite funny and hilarious for what it was. I mean, nothing spectacular, but I wouldn't really say it's his weakest one. I think Thumbelina and Bartok are way worse than this one. I say worse, but I mean I don't say they are bad or anything like that. But I mean Bartok is like you can skip that one. I mean immediately. Thumbelina has its good points, but in general it's just a very forgettable film. I think some of the voice acting was really good. I really like the main character in this one, the troll. And you can sort of say the same thing with this one that has the storyline is very much all over the place. But I would say the characters is what saves this from being like lower down in this list. So but anyway, A Troll in Central Park at number 9. And then at number 8, we have the one that I watched recently, most recently, Rock a Duel. This one is also good. I like the premise of this one that this rooster is like getting like banished basically much from his farm or whatever, and he seeks to have success in the big town because he starts to sing like Elvis. I thought that was really fun. So it has a whole lot of really good, I mean, good music. I mean, so at least the music has something to do with the storyline, and that's the reason why I prefer this one over some of the other previous ones that I've already talked about. Some people don't really care for the main character, this cat, who is actually a human in the film, but he gets transformed into a cat. So I think some people really like despise this character, but I think it's okay. I mean, it didn't bother me too much. So once again, I would say the villain. I mean, most of the songs are really good, but the villain is like one of the weaker points of this film, in my personal opinion. This like owl type of character. His villain song is just very forgettable and just felt very forced as well. So not really catchy at all. But I do really like most of the other songs in this film. So yeah, there you go. Rockadoodle at number 8. Now let's see here. Number 7 is a film in this like triple pack, and it is The Pebble and the Penguin, which I think Don Bluth himself said that he was uncredited on the film himself because he was so disappointed at the end result in the end. I think this is a film that I liked way more than some of the other ones. It's just because this is a film that I remember watched on TV when I was really young, and I was just thinking about this film, like what was it called? I just didn't remember that. But I have since rewatched it at least 2 times, I believe. The storyline, like once again, the storyline is very strange, but I think the main villain, who is played by or like voiced by Tim Curry, is really memorable and really fun. And I mean, even like also the main protagonists in this film is actually also really, I think they are really like memorable as well. So, and the music, if I remember correctly, was pretty good as well. So yeah, The Pebble and the Penguin at number 7. Then we have a film which I believe is probably like much higher up in most other people's lists, but this is where it landed on my list. So number 6 we have An American Tail. This actually comes with a sequel as well, which is not directed by Don Bluth, but it's based on those characters. But a pretty good sequel as well. This one obviously is much better than the second one, but still I think both of these films are really good. Now I'm just going to talk about the first one. I'm not sure if I saw this as a kid or not. I could have been some of these sequels or anything like that, but yeah, I like the cat voiced by Dom DeLuise. I thought his performance in that was really, really memorable and really fun. I do believe also that when I watched this when I was younger, if it was this one, I do remember the cat most of all of the characters. So obviously I mean, the voice acting for like that cat is just amazing. So it's basically about this like little rat that goes from Paris or Great Britain to America, basically, I believe. So, but yeah, really entertaining film. So I really like the main bad guys in this one as well, or like the bad guys. So, yeah, then An American Tail. Now let's see here at number 5 we have a film which is actually the last film that Don Bluth ever directed, and that is Titan AE. I usually kind of laugh at this with some of my friends that this is like the PG-13 version of the film Heavy Metal 2000, because both of those came out in the same year, I believe. Let's see, this is from 2000. Really like this space adventure thing. I thought the animations and like the CG effects mixed very well together. I do like the most of the characters. The main character can be somewhat of a douchebag from time to time, but you do grow to appreciate his character in general. Kale, I believe his name was. Was it Kale? Yeah, Kale. So he basically teams up with these other like kind of outsiders to try to save like planet Earth or something like that, or like some other type of planet. Wasn't as I saw it now, but the weakest point of this entire film is like the main bad guys, who I think they're just called the Dre, I believe, and it's like these like bluish type of creatures, or like these blue spaceships. I thought they were very they're not really memorable at all. There's some twists towards the end that there might be another bad guy somewhere, so I'm not going to spoil that for you if you haven't seen the film. But yeah, I think this is a really underappreciated Don Bluth film. I just think it's a shame that this was the last film he directed before he retired, because this really flopped at the box office. That's just what I want to say. So Titan AE at number 5. And number 4 is a film which I actually did rewatch at the same day as I watched Bartok. I decided to watch this one as well. This one I had not seen since I was maybe 5 years old or something like that. Anastasia. And apparently this, I believe, is the film. I mean, this was the best success that Don Bluth ever had, because I believe this did really well at the box office. And a very interesting story. Obviously, it's not very historically accurate. So if you want a more accurate type of story, you should probably look elsewhere. But um, I just didn't remember that much about this film before rewatching this. But I just had completely forgotten about some of the music in this one, because I think pretty much every single musical number in this is just amazing. And the main villain, Rasputin, is really terrifying. I don't really remember his whole reasoning as to why he wants to kill off Anastasia to begin with. Maybe I just missed the point with that, or like the history lesson right there. Uh, but I think he's amazingly voiced by Christopher Lloyd. And you also get, I think it's Meg Ryan who provides the voice for Anastasia. And was it John Cusack who did the voice for what's his name? Dimitri, I believe his name was. Yeah, Dimitri. Um, yeah, I really like the atmosphere in this one, the music, the way it looks and everything. Yeah, I had completely forgotten about how much I actually appreciate this film. So yeah, there you go, Anastasia at number 4. And then we have at number 3 we have All Dogs Go to Heaven. I have actually seen the other two as well. Which was also actually shown in the previously on that triple pack, the third one. You can skip the third one. The second one is actually really good as well. Almost as good as the first one. The reasoning as to why I prefer the first one is because I think the storyline is way better and it's very memorable, because it's basically about this dog called, let's see, Charlie Barkin, yeah, and his friends, and he's pretty much like a kind of a scoundrel, wants to get money and stuff like that, and then he meets this young girl called what's her name in the film? Oh, for some reason, Anne Marie is her name. Yeah, sorry. So he pretty much encounters her, and at the beginning he doesn't really care too much about her, and then he finally appreciate, like, I mean, he really grows into this like friendship between these characters, and he realizes he's done some really terrible things before. Really like the chemistry between these characters. The main villain, Carface, is like, he's okay. I wouldn't say he's like the greatest like movie villain, like animated movie villain of all time or anything like that, but he's memorable enough. And this one also had, I think also Don DeLuise plays his sidekick character called Itchy. Yeah, I mean, if you do like Don Bluth films and you haven't seen this one before, go check it out. It's really entertaining. So yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven at number 3. And then we have a film which, this is actually, I believe, the first feature film he directed, and it is The Secret of Nim at number 2. This one I don't believe, if I'm not sure if I grew up with this one. I think I had probably watched it 1 or 2 times, but I think I was way too afraid to watch it, because it was very like dark and very moody, this film in general, for being like a kids film. But when I rewatched it, I really appreciated some of the more dark tones to it. Sort of like a weird, depressing type of film, if you come to think about it. Since it's like a kids film, it's very, very dark. I have actually seen the sequel as well. Not too. I mean, I'm not seeing the sequel like in ages, but I do believe I watched the sequel way more times than this one. I'm not really sure why when I did that when I was a kid. Maybe I just didn't understand that was a sequel. And at that point, I really appreciated the sequel. But I've heard recently that, like in the recent years, that the second one's supposed to be really, really bad. So it's sort of like, I'm not really sure if I dare to rewatch that one. But this one is very memorable. Really nice characters, and the main villain is really good. One downside to this film, this might be some really strange like opinion right here, but the Great Owl that is played by John Carradine, he sounds like, the way he speaks in this film, it kind of sounds like he just doesn't want to be there. Like, oh, I'm fed up with this garbage. Oh, let me home. I'm not really sure, that it was just, that really threw me off when I watched the film. But other than that, I think it's a really good film, like, in general. So yeah, The Secret of Nim at number 2. So let's see here. What could possibly be number 1? Well, number 1 is The Land Before Time, the film that almost ruined Disney, because this one did way better than those Disney films that came out around the same era, or around the same time. This one I remember I watched so many times as a kid. I even watched the sequels. I think I watched part 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, maybe 7. I'm not really sure, but at least part up to part 6. I know those films are not really, it doesn't really have a that good reputation, but I mean, as a kid, I really appreciated all of those. But this one is obviously the best one, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it because it's such a classic film, and even to this day, it has such a great like type of harmony to it. Once again, it's a kind of a darker type of film in general, but it's just the characters and their chemistry and like their friendship is just so fun to look at. And you have Sharptooth as the baddie in this film. Very that was very scary for me when I watched it the first time when I was a kid. So but yeah, Land Before Time, I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, I'm not really sure if I should even watch any of the sequels to this and rewatch them. Maybe I'm just going to say, how could I like this as a kid? But this one I have rewatched many times after that, and I think it's still the best film that Don Bluth has ever directed. So yeah, The Land Before Time at number 1. So that was my ranking video of the movies by Don Bluth. I know he made like a film from the late 70s, which was not really like a feature film. I think it was only like 29 minutes long, and it was like some sort of film with a cat. That one I haven't seen. I'm not really sure if I'm ever even to be able to find that anywhere. But I mean, if you're fed up with some of the newer Disney stuff in general, go check out any of Don Bluth's films. They are really entertaining, except for Bar Talk. Bar Talk, that one you can just skip. You can just skip that one. I did not like that one bit. But anyway, that's the end of this particular video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm not really sure what type of video is going to be the next one. Probably the top 5 of the month for the month of April. And then I'm going to try to make the ranking video of Jorge Romero's films as well. So keep your eyes open for those videos, and see you next time. Bye bye.